Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss very important topic of modern history. The name of the topic is decline of Mughals. Actually, from this topic, from this period, from the decline of Mughal starts the period of modern Indian history. Okay, in especially in UPSC syllabus. So we will see that what were the reasons of decline of Mughals, how the mighty empire of Mughals declined. Okay, what was different factors, and up to what extent these factors were responsible for the decline of Mughals. So let's move. So decline of Mughals began with the death of Aurangzeb in 1707. Right? Aurangzeb was the emperor of Mughal Empire from 1658 to 1707. Right? So his policy is considered as the major reason, one of the major reason of decline of Mughal Empire. We will see how. Right? Before that, the Mughal Empire was flourishing in India, but after the death of Aurangzeb in 1707, the decline of Mughal started, and eventually it ended in 1857. Right? 1857. So let's see what are the causes of decline of Mughal. So we will divide the causes in three types. One is political cause. Second one is economical. Third one is social, and also not three in fourth. Not three, four causes, and fourth one is military cause. Okay, so these causes we will discuss that how it led to decline of Mughal Empire. But before that, we will see that how after 1658 or 1707, after Aurangzeb, who were the who were the Mughal rulers which ruled India, right, after Aurangzeb. In brief, we will see the chronology of different emperors after Aurangzeb. So Aurangzeb was the last great Mughal emperor who, you know, who was responsible for extending Mughal empire till south, right? His campaign were till Deccan, and after his death there came many Mughal empire, but they were not as capable as Aurangzeb and other previous Mughal empires. For example, Bahadur Shah came in 17 became the Mughal emperor in 1707, and he ruled till 1712, right? 5 years. But his age when he ascended to the throne was 65 years. So he was already very old, right, when he became emperor. He tried to improve the state finances, but it did not improve, right? The position of state finances worsened during his reign, during reign of Bahadur Shah. After Bahadur Shah, Jahandar Shah came in 1713, right? He has a very powerful vizier known as Zulfikar Khan, who established friendly relation with Rajput and Marathas, and also Jizya. Jizya was a religious tax which was abolished by him, and it was imposed by Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb imposed what? Jizya tax, right? Jizya tax. So Jahandar Shah was having his one noble known as Zulfikar Khan. Fine. After Jahandar Shah, Farooq Siyar came into the power, and he defeated Jahandar Shah. However, Sayyid brothers, who were Sayyid brothers? Sayyid brothers were also nobles. Nobles. Nobles means, let me explain you what is the noble. Okay. So I am explaining you nobles in Mughal court. Nobles in Mughal court. So in Mughal court, at supreme position was emperor. Emperor like Babar, Akbar, okay, Aurangzeb. These were at top. After emperor, there was wazir, who is prime minister, right? Prime minister. And after wazir, there was influential people known as nobles. They were having different, you know, different responsibilities, like some were governors, ministers, like that. So these were the nobles, right? Like Zulfikar Khan, Zulfikar Khan, you know, Chinkiliz, Chinkiliz Khan. These were the nobles of Mughal Empire, right? You will get to know about their role also. After Zulfikar, his powerful Wazir Zulfikar Khan was in the reign of Jahandar Shah, okay, and he tried to improve the Mughal administration a lot. After Jahandar Shah, Farooq Siyar ruled, and he was responsible to provide farman, right, in 1717 to British East India Company, right? So he defeated Jahandar Shah and Sayyid Badr. Sayyid Badr were two brothers who were known as Kingmaker, right? Means the position of position of emperor was for namesake only, namesake. And the de facto ruler, who were the real ruler, were Sayyid brothers, right? Sayyid brothers, okay, who were running the empire. And in 17 C, and this was the time, as I am telling you, this was the time of time of a lot of treachery, right? Disbelief, instead of disbelief, treachery, betrayal, conspiracy. Why? Because of war of succession. We will see what is war of succession and how it led to all these things. The reason was, apart from emperors, nobles were having political aspirations, right? They also wanted to become emperor, or they wanted to achieve autonomy. So this happens when the central authority becomes weak, okay, then small states rises. And after Farooq Siyar, Muhammad Shah Rangila became ruler here from 1720 to 1748, right? And he ruled 27 years. And at his time, there was one powerful noble in Kiliz Khan, who eventually took the title of Nizamul Mulk, and he established what in 1724 state of Hyderabad, right? Hyderabad. We will discuss his story separately. And there was Nizamul Mulk, right, organized Turanian Irani noblemen against the Sayyid and ultimately defeated them and killed them in 1720s. The Nizam acted as his wazir, okay. After killing the Sayyid brothers, he became wazir of Muhammad Shah Rangila, from 1722 to 1724, and he killed Sayyid brothers, right? Sayyid brothers killed emperor through conspiracy, but Nizamul Milk killed Sayyid brothers, right, during Muhammad Shah Rangila's rule. And it was believed that Muhammad Shah could have saved Mughal Empire, but he was not the man of the moment, right? Man of the moment. He was living very luxurious life, right? Fickle minded person, fickle minded, luxury lifestyle, okay, which caused weak administration and also defiance by nobles, and nobles became frustrated by his rules and his fickle mindedness, right? Nobles became frustrated. Because of this frustration itself, Chinkilis Khan, who was also known as Asaf Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah, established the state of Hyderabad, right? Hyderabad. And you will see in 1738 and 1739, Nadir Shah, who was Persian means present day Iran, Persian king, he plundered Delhi and caused immense damage to the prestige of Mughal Empire, and exposed that how weak the Mughal Empire is, right? And eventually these all factors caused the decline of Mughal Empire. So let's move on. Causes. So I told you we will discuss causes in segregated manner. First, see what is political cause. So one of the political cause is considered as Aurangzeb's expansionist military campaign. As I told you, Aurangzeb was trying to expand the reach of Mughal Empire, and in that direction he campaigned against Bijapur and Golconda, also at autonomous state of Maratha, right? And because of these campaign, it was believed that the vitality of Mughal Empire was sapped. Okay, because of this campaign, the Mughal Empire became weak. The reason was it was causing a lot of money to campaign or to go into that extent. Definitely, if you want to capture the Bijapur and Golconda and other autonomous state, you have to fight war, and to fighting the war you need a lot of man and also a lot of money. So instead of putting in that money for the development of administration, Aurangzeb was trying to get his hold in these states. Because of that, he was not able to give proper attention to northern area, right? Deccan and Vijapur was there in southern India. So this caused a lot of financial stress in Mughal administration, right? Next cause is no clear line of succession. What is clear line of succession? It means that after death of emperor, who will become next emperor, who will be there in throne. But in Mughal Empire there was no clear cut policy, right? No policy. So what was happening after death of emperor? The contender for throne were fighting. Contender of throne, right? They're fighting, and whoever won, he used to become emperor. Also, one more thing was there, that before the death, emperor used to appoint his successor. Okay, emperor was assigning successor. So but there was no policy that who will become king or emperor after the death of present king. So this no clear line of succession caused war of succession. War of succession among different contenders, right? And you can see from 1707 to 1720, more than 5 people were appointed to the throne. In just 13 years, 5 people, 5 people, 5 emperor. And this caused, is instability. Yeah, present day, what happens? One government has to serve his tenure for 5 years so that all the policy can be implemented properly. Here, in 13 years, 5 people were appointed. So how the stability will be there, right? And this was the time when Britishers were engaged in consolidating their power, right? So at one end, the one central authority was getting weak, and on the other hand, another authority, be it European, was becoming stronger, right? So this is the another political cause. One is Aurangzeb expansionist military campaign, another is war of succession. Then bitter factionalism. I told you that not only emperors were fighting among themselves, okay, successor of emperors, but also nobles started, okay, having their own aspiration to rule an autonomous state. And at that point of time, there were different faction of rulers, nobles present. For example, Irani, Turani, Durrani, Hindustani nobles, right? Irani nobles means those who belong to Iran and Persian region. Turani means from Turkish region. Durrani means from Afghanistan region, and Hindustani means from Indian. So they were fighting, and they were supporting each others based on family ties. So you can say there was no feeling of oneness. Right? They were fighting with each other. So this made empire weak. Right? And also in later stages they formed autonomous state. For example, Chinkilis Khan, who was from Turrani faction, he formed Hyderabad state, right? So they were also quarreling among themselves. Also, some nobles also assorted to reign of terror, right? Reign of terror means they were not shying away from using arms, weapons to eliminate their competitor. So they assorted reign of terror. For example, Sayyid brothers, okay, they caused death of emperor, right? And this made another nobles very insecure. Also emperor became insecure, that if the emperor of the empire is not safe, then how other nobles can remain safe, right? So this was also the reason that why the Mughal empire became weak. Let's now move on to economic causes. What was the economic cause of decline of Mughal? So one cause was Jagirdari crisis. So let me explain who is Jagirdar. Jagirdar were persons who were given Jagir. So what is Jagir? Piece of land and Jagir, and they were responsible to collect revenue from this land, right? So they were responsible for collecting revenue from this land. Who? Jagirdar. So what is the Jagirdari crisis? Jagirdari crisis, let me explain you by adding one slide. Jagirdar crisis. So if it is a Mughal empire, okay, this is Mughal empire, and Mughal empire is collecting revenue from land, right? This is piece of land, not collecting directly, not directly. What they are doing, they are assigning Jagirdar, right? And Jagirdar, like, this is small pieces of land. Let's say Jagir 1, Jagir 2, Jagir 3, Jagir 4, Jagir 5, like that, and one Jagirdar is responsible for land collection, revenue collection from Jagir 1, another one is from Jagir 2, another one from Jagir 3. And what is what they will get, what Jagirdar will get, they will keep some amount with the revenue collected with them, some amount with them. For example, if they collect 100 rupees, so they keep 50 rupees with them and 50 rupees to empire. So this 50 rupees was their salary, you can say, okay, and their remuneration. So this way they were maintaining their lifestyle and they were giving rupees to, revenue to Mughal empire. So this was the situation. So how it became to crisis? The crisis was, how it became crisis. Land is fixed. How it became crisis? Land fixed, but number of Jagirdar was increasing. So small land, few and too much Jagirdar, right? A lot of land was fixed, and the situation was that among these Jagirdars, some were influential, others were not. The situation was 65% land was held by few Jagirdars, and rest were sharing others. We can say 15% Jagirdars were having excess of 65% Jagirs, and rest were sharing 35% Jagir. So it caused, frustration and jealousy among these Jagirdars. So this was a crisis situation. This gave the rise to the crisis. Another situation was, as Jagir, this land can be transferred also. So they were not having any affection, no affection with land. No affection of whom? Jagirdar were having no affection. Their main interest was to generate revenue maximum revenue, to generate maximum revenue. And for that they were coercing peasants, right? Peasants. So this also caused the peasant revolt, you will see. So you can see here that how Mughal state was a war state in core, and it was based on centralized Mansabdari system whose vitality depended on its military might. So what is Mansabdari? Mansabdari means Mansabdar were officers in Mughal court, okay, who were given some ranks. So Mansabdari is ranks. For example, in India's government there are minister of different rank, right? Like cabinet minister, state minister. Same way in Mughal court, officers were having ranks, and based on their ranks their status was decided, and this rank was known as Mansabdari. Mansab, right? This system was known as Mansabdari and rank was known as Mansab. There were two things a Mansabdar has to maintain. One is he has to maintain fixed number of soldiers, okay, and another one is number of horses, right? So this was the task of Mansabdar, and he has to provide services to Mughal court, services, military service, right? Whenever Mughal require soldiers and horses, then they would call Mansabdars, so that Mansabdar can provide the service, right? So Mughal was war state in its core. War state means whatever he was attaining, okay, or his revenue was increasing due to expansion of territory, expansion of territory, right? And how this territory was expanded? Through wars. This was the reason that why Aurangzeb was fighting with Bijapur and Golconda. He wanted to extend his territory, and for that he was taking the help of war. Even all Mughal state was war state in core, and they have to keep who? Mansabdars. But due to weak administration and weak ruler, the Mansabdars were not following the same system. They started defying their quota means if they were asked to keep, let's say, 100 soldiers, 50 horses, no, they have to pay the salary, and also for taking care of horses they need money. So who were giving them money? They were paid salary also, and also they were having Jagir, okay. Jagir means land. So they were collecting revenue, but what they started doing was they started maintaining less number of soldiers and less number of horses, and they were charging same money as in their quota. Mansabdars, what they were doing, they were not keeping the number of horses and soldiers as per their quota, and they were taking salary of full strength of their quota, but they were not keeping that much with themselves. So this caused, at the time of when the Mughal Empire required their service, so they were not able to provide full service, right? And also the Mansabdari was based on the personal loyalty to the emperor. They were not responsible to anyone. They were only responsible to the person. So nobody could have asked them that why you are doing so. And why emperor didn't ask? Because they were indulged in pleasure seeking activity, right? That's why the name of Mughal Muhammad Shah became Rangila, because he was a very Rangila kind of personality. So this crisis led to the weakness of Mughal Empire. What was mansabdari? I am again explaining here. Each mansabdar was given the authority to collect land revenue from a state. In lieu of number of horsemen he was required to maintain, and he has to make the horses available to the emperor at his request whenever emperor required. The estimated revenue income from it would cover his personal salary and the maintenance allowance for his soldiers and horses, right? I have explained you also. And this mansabdari was based upon patron client relationship between the emperor and the aristocracy. The effectiveness of this relationship was based upon the constant expansion of resources, which explains the constant drive toward territorial conquest in Mughal India. Means, if Mughal India would not expand at that point of time, right? So it means the revenue was not uh, cannot be increased also, because Jagir was fixed and their lifestyle was very pompous. Lifestyle of emperors, lifestyle of nobles, mansabs, they were spending a lot of money in their lifestyle. So that's why for maintaining that lifestyle they need to have, increased revenue, which was not becoming possible at that point of time. Also there were no more conquests since the time of औरंगजेब के बाद से कॉन्क्वेस्ट होना बंद हो गया, और दिस वॉज फॉलोड बाई पीरियड ऑफ कॉन्स्टेंट श्रिंकेज ऑफ द रिसोर्सेज ऑफ एम्पायर का रिसोर्स श्रिंक होने लग गया, एंड दिस इज वॉट रप्चर द फंक्शनल रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द एम्पर एंड एरिस्टोक्रेसी ऑन विच डिपेंडेड द एफिकेसी ऑफ मुगल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, राइट? यू ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. They started defying emperor's order. They started aiming for their own autonomous state, and this caused weak administration, right? Next is social cause. Social causes can be considered as divisive religious policy of Aurangzeb, one of the reason of factor of decline, right? Decisive religious policy means favoring Muslim and discriminating Hindu, right? We all know that how Aurangzeb destroyed many Hindu temples, right? He reimposed jizya tax on religious activity. Tax on religious activity was imposed by Aurangzeb, reimposed, right? Reimposed. Akbar removed this tax, but Aurangzeb reimposed, and he alienated majority section. India is, as we know, Hindu are in majority at that point of time also, and he alienated. Because of this, Hindu developed grudge against the Mughals, right? Society was not together. You try to understand. If our society right now is not together and danger arrives, so what will happen? Now we will fight among ourselves itself, right? And then next is military cause. What is military cause? There was no fresh technological input in the Mughal army during 18th century. You will see that how Mughal got defeated by British, right? Britishers were there, and also by Nadir Shah. Britishers to came late. Nadir Shah in 1739. Nadir Shah was using guns, right? When Nadir Shah came, let me tell you this story also. When Nadir Shah came in 1739, he came with 55,000 soldiers, right? And Muhammad Shah was having around 3 lakh soldiers, but Nadir Shah defeated Muhammad Shah Rangila's army. Why so? Because of his good technique. They were having guns, we were having bhala, arrow, these things only. So there was no fresh technological input. Nobody was giving heed to this, that they have to, modernize their weapons also, their army also. And then when they faced Britishers opponent, opponent as Britishers, the Mughal army proved to be inferior. So my dear friends, these are the causes of decline of Mughal empire. If you like the video, please subscribe. I know I could have done better, but next time I will give my best to improve the video. Thank you very much.